Hello students, this is Shourav Ryan and welcome to you my YouTube channels. Today we will discuss about theory of farm. A firm is an organization that produces goods or services it sells to earn a profit. What is the theory of productions? The process of converting input into outputs that is called the theory of productions. Factors of productions is land, labor, capital and organizations with consecutive price is rent, wage, interest and profit. Production function. Production function shows the relationship between input factors and the quantity of output, where Q is denoted by F of L, A, K, and Q, where Q is quantity of output, L is labor land, LA is labor, K is capital, and O is organizations. For short-run productions, there is only labor is variables, but in long-run productions, they are both capital and labor are variables. Total product, the total quantity of output produced with a given amount of inputs. Average product, the output per unit of a particular input, that is the average product. The additional output produced by using one more unit of input, that is marginal product. This table shows the relationship between total product, average product and marginal product. And this graph shows their relationships and graphically. This red line shows the total product area. This this area shows increasing at increasing rate. This area shows increasing at decreasing rate, but this area shows decreasing rate only. And this blue line shows the point of inflation, and this point shows the maximum total product. And total average and marginal product relationship also shows in different graphs. You have to see this. When total product is an inflation point, marginal product is maximum, then marginal product is maximum. When total product is at maximum, then marginal product is zero. And average average product is at max at the point where a ray from the origin is tangential to TP. Here is the relationship between TP, AP, and MP. You have to see this. Previously, we have discussed this. Now, relationship between TP and AP. This chart shows their relationship. A relationship between TP and AP, that means total product and average product. Average product is equals to total product by quantity. Average product is at max at the point where a ray from the origin is tangential to TP. Relationship between marginal product and average product. Before average product max, then is marginal product greater than average product. But after average product max, then marginal product less than average product. Law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns states that as more units of variable input like labor are added to a fixed input like land and machineries, the additional output like marginal product from each extra unit of inputs will eventually decline. Initially, increasing the variable input leads to higher productivity due to specializations and better resources utilizations. However, after a long certain points, concessions, imbalances, and over utilizations or fixed resources cause the marginal product to decrease. Eventually, adding more input may even reduce total output. Producer's equilibrium. Producer's equilibrium in economics refers to the point where a producer, like a farm or business, is making the most efficient use of its resources to maximize its profit. It's the situation where a producer has found the best combination of inputs like labor, materials, and machineries to produce the right amount of goods at the right cost so that their profit is as high as possible. Long-run production functions Q is denoted for L and K, where L is land and K denoted capitals, MRTASL denoted marginal rate of technical substitutions between labor and capital. Producer's equilibrium. This shows the relationship between labor, capital, and the MRTS. Isoquant and Isocost line. This graph shows Isoquant and Isocost lines. And Isoquant is a graph that shows all the different combinations of two inputs like labor and capital that can produce the same level of output. Properties of Isoquant curves. Downward sloping, convex to the origin. Higher Isoquant curves, higher level of productions. No, Isoquant in practice each other. That means they are parallel to each other. Isocost line. An isocost line shows all the combinations of two inputs like labor and capital that can be purchased for the same total cost. Here is cost function C is WL plus RK, where W is wages, R is rent, L is labor cost, K is capital cost, and C is the cost of production functions. Here is the graph for isoquant and isocost lines. Marginal rate of technical substitutions. Marginal rate of technical substitutions is the rate at which production inputs, typically labor and capital, can be substituted while maintaining the same level of output. The slope of the isoquant indicates the MRTS, or at any point along the isoquant how much capital would be required to replace a unit of labor at that production point. Here is the MRTS formula. Optimal combinations of factors. That means equilibrium points. Equilibrium point is a tangential line between IQ and cost lines where slope of IQ equal to slope of IC. This graph shows the equilibrium points with isocost, cost curve, and their relationships. Expansion path. An expansion path is economics represents the optimal combinations of inputs like labor and capital a firm chooses at its expands productions while minimizing cost. Isocost line. This graph shows isocost lines relationships between isoquant levels. Introduction to short run cost curve. Short run cost curve represent different cost incurred by a firm. Total cost, total fixed cost is. This cost plays a crucial role in business decisions makings and pricing strategies. Total fixed cost. Cost that do not change with the level of outputs, examples rent, salaries, loan, interest, etc. The formula total fixed cost always remains same. That's why this graph is a parallel line due to x-axis. Total variable cost, cost that vary with the level of outputs, examples raw materials, labor, fuel, and formula total variable changes as outputs increases. This curve shows the total variable cost. Total cost. The total cost formula is total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Total cost curve is derived by adding total variable cost and total fixed cost. This curve shows total fixed cost. This red line shows total variable cost and this green line shows total average fixed cost. Average fixed cost formula is total fixed cost by as a quantity Average fixed cost decreases as output increases. This curve shows average fixed cost curve. Average variable cost. The formula of average variable cost curve is total variable cost by Q, quantity. Average variable cost follows a U-shape, initially decreasing then increasing. And this graph shows average variable cost. Average cost. Here is the average cost formula. Average cost is a U-shaped influenced by average fixed cost and average variable cost. Marginal cost. This graph shows marginal cost. Additional cost incurred for producing one more unit. That shows the marginal cost. This is the formula of marginal cost. Marginal cost is equals to del of total variable cost by sense of total quantity. Marginal cost is U-shaped. Long run cost. Long run cost curve shows the minimum cost to produce any output levels. All inputs are variable. There is no fixed cost in the long run. The long run cost curves is the envelope of all short run cost curves. It is essential for long term investments and production decisions. Optimizations productions. The long run cost functions can be expressed as C is equals to BQ. In the long run, cost depends on labors and capitals, meaning firm can adjust their production process freely. Since all inputs are variables, there are no fixed costs in the long run. Long run cost curves. The long run cost curve is derived as the envelope of all short run cost curves. Each short run total cost curve represents the cost structure for a firm under a specific fixed input constraints. The long run total cost curve is the sum of all short run total cost tangential points, meaning it always lies below or touches the short run total cost curves. Here is the general form, the linear cost form. Here, this is the complex functions. Now, relationship between short run and long run cost curves. The long run cost curves is the envelope of all short run cost curves. Mathematically, envelope of a short run average cost plus short run average cost, all the short run average cost is greater than the long run average cost. Okay, this shows tangency point and cost behaviors. Here is the here is their behaviors. Is short run average cost curves represent a different scale of productions. The long run average cost curves touches is short run average cost curves at one's tangential points. At the minimum long run average cost point, the corresponding short run average cost is at its lowest cost, meaning the firm is producing the optimal scale. At the minimum long run average cost point, the corresponding short run average cost is at its lowest cost, meaning the firm is producing at the optimal scale. Beyond the minimum LRAC point, the SRAC is 10 cents from below, meaning short run costs start rising. This curve shows cost curves. Factors of productions in the long runs. The factors are labor and capital. Labor works related expenses like wages and benefits. Capital like investments in physical assets like machineries and buildings. Long run cost dependency. Cost C equals to WL plus RK, where W wages and R rental rate of capitals. Firm choose labor and capital to minimize cost. Relationship between total cost and marginal cost. Marginal cost is decreasing when total cost is increasing at a decreasing rate before the point of inflection. in total cost. At the point of inflection of the total curve, the marginal cost is at the minimum. Since marginal cost is derived from total cost as the additional cost of producing one more unit, its behavior depends on the slope of total curve. The total cost curve is the sum of total fixed cost and total variable cost. This is the formula of total cost. The total variable cost curve has the same shape as the total cost curve, but starts from the origin since it excludes fixed cost. Previously, we see the graphs. Average cost and average variable cost are derived as. This is the formula: average cost and average variable cost. Both average cost and average variable costs are U-shaped due to law of variable proportions. Here is their relationship. At the minimum point of average cost, there is marginal cost, and marginal cost is equals to average cost. Before the minimum average cost, there is marginal cost less than average cost, but after minimum cost, there is marginal cost greater than average cost. Marginal cost always passes through the minimum points of both average cost and average variable cost from below. This means that when marginal cost is below average cost and average cost, it puts from down. When marginal cost is above them, it puts them up. Here is the summary of the chapters and key takeaways. Short-run costs are critical for pricing and production decisions. Total fixed cost remains constant, while total variable cost and total cost vary with outputs. Average fixed cost continuously decreases. Average variable cost and average cost are a U-shaped curve. Marginal cost plays a key role in determining optimal production levels. Understanding these concepts helps in cost management and business strategies. If you are a businessman, that will help you. Thank you. This is for today. If you have any questions, please write down in comment sections. And please like, share, and subscribe my YouTube channels so that I will deliver you more classes like this.